Okay, great. Never mind that I literally have the window open and the heat going so you can hear the fan from the AC unit. And I'm pretty sure podcasting 101 is like, don't do that. So welcome back to another episode of In Sync with Alexi, your favorite podcast because it has the best production value in town. Today, that town happens to be Philly, the great city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Swing state du jour. No, I don't really care to talk about Pennsylvania as a swing state or its role in the election today, because that's not at all what matters. That is the least interesting story from the election, you guys. What the fuck happened? Really, what the fuck happened, you know? Marlon's breakdancing on the pillow right now, on the pull-out couch where the camera is, so totally just shaking it, vibrating. I have Thai food waiting for me, crab rangoon and pad see ew. Shout out to Circle's Thai restaurant in Philly. Zach went to this boxing match at the arena. We got an Airbnb for the weekend, and we just decided to get out of DC for the weekend for no reason in particular. We just were like, let's get out, let's go, let's get out and explore. And so we're exploring. And by exploring, I mean, we drove 2.5 hours to Philadelphia so that we could play Xbox and video games in the Airbnb, drink wine together in the Airbnb. I could podcast from the Airbnb while wearing my cozy sweatsuit and chill with Marlon, and then we're gonna go back to DC tomorrow and do all of those things in our apartment together. So shout out to Zach, and shout out to you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for helping boost the number of ratings that I have. Truly, I mean, we keep getting it up, so if you haven't left me a rating, please leave me a rating. 5 stars would be great, but I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm just asking you to help make the number of total ratings I have go up. A lot of you guys seem to be listening on Apple Podcasts. That's what the data tells me. So please leave me a comment if you feel so obliged. Ooh, 20. We have 27 on Apple now. So thank you. Okay, great. This is amazing. So someone left a comment with 5 stars, thank you, on Apple Podcasts, and they wrote, "Not the same old, same old. I appreciate Alexi explaining and going into detail in layman terms that we can all understand and follow. Thank you." Thank you for that. Another person wrote, "Really enjoy listening to you and your views on the issues. Thank you for your honesty and passion." So thank you guys for listening. Thank you for writing in. Let's get down to motherfucking business, you guys. Honestly, that seems to be the vibe. That seems to be the vibe post-election. People are like, I'm going to be sad for one day, and then the next day, I'm getting down to business. I'm going back to normal. I'm moving on. First of all, let me tell you all why that is wrong. Let me tell you all why it is wrong to be like, I'm only feeling my feelings for one day, and then I'm moving on. Mostly, I believe to my core that is just like internalized capitalism. Okay, that is internalized capitalism being like, I can't feel my feelings, especially if it's sadness or anger, because I have to get back to being productive, aka going back to work. Whatever that means. It could be like a literal job or just like going back to work and being productive. You know what I mean? Guys, stop saying that. Stop listening to people who tell you that, and stop believing that for yourself. It is ludicrous to say to yourself, oh, I can only feel bad for one day, or I'm giving myself a deadline of X, Y, and Z, and then I'm not feeling those feelings anymore. Not only is it totally unnatural to just be like, I'm no longer feeling these feelings associated with this event by this time in this number of arbitrary hours, you literally are normalizing, disassociating, and sweeping things under the rug that make you feel bad inside because you don't like feeling with that. You don't like sitting with that feeling, with those heavy feelings of sadness, shame, guilt, regret, anger. Guys, we don't need to give ourselves one day and move on, okay? I said to my therapist the other day, I was like, I'm going to give myself until Monday and then I'll get back to like, not eating like a petulant child. I've basically been having like ice cream and milkshakes and chips and cheese and candy and candy only. I'm not even kidding. Like since Wednesday, I've just been eating straight junk food. I have probably... Yeah, I've not really been eating like full meals. I've been eating like mozzarella sticks at brunch today. Literally at brunch today, we had at brunch 10:30 a.m. Guys, bear with me, okay? This is a safe space. This is a safe space, so don't judge. But also this is related, I guess, to later. But literally brunch today, 10:30 in the morning, we had fried banana bites that we were dipping into a little thing of maple syrup, and we had jackfruit loaded fries. It was incredible. It was delicious. Unreal. Fried banana bites. Have never had those before. Wish I had them every single day of my life. Am now convinced that I need to learn how to make them myself. But like, I've only been eating like a child, and so I need to not do that. But my therapist was like, well, you can give yourself until January, to figure out sort of like what you want to do or how you might want to not fight back, but like how, like, she was like, you can give yourself until January, not Monday. Like you have until January to, really figure out what you want your next move to be, basically how you want to use your energy, how you feel using your energy will be most productive or fulfilling to you. And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. We do have until January. Why are we being like, Monday, we got to go back? Capitalism. That's on capitalism, baby. We love it, though. We love it. Listen, we love it. I love things. And I need to stop buying things because I swear to God, I get an Amazon package like every other day, and it's really eating me alive. And I'm admitting these things out loud to you guys for a few reasons, but I'm mostly admitting them to you because I have really been reflecting on this idea, and this is related to today's episode. I've really, and the election, I've really been reflecting on this idea of how shame thrives in the shadows. That is something that has been especially true with like childhood trauma and the stuff that I have kept hidden from other people in my life that I've dealt with. But it is also true in the way that we treat each other and the way that we feel about things. If you feel shameful about something and you bottle it up, you hide away, you isolate that part of yourself, you don't let that see the light of day, it can turn into this really nasty, ugly thing that gets so out of hand, it actually becomes a weapon that just eventually can be used against you. Does that make sense? So stick with me. So think about like a little ball of tape, just like rolling that ball of tape in more tape and more tape and more tape in every direction, left, right, forward, backwards, all around, twice around, then 3 times to the left, whatever. Just gets bigger and bigger, and it's this unruly, sticky blob of tape, a ball of tape, okay? That is essentially what happens when you allow shame and the shame that you feel about something that's happened in your life or something about yourself to exist and live in the shadows. It gets bigger, stickier, it takes up more space within you. It is harder to not just like untangle or unravel itself, but disentangle from every place that it's stuck on you. I know this firsthand with so many things, but like a prime example, of course, is all of the sexual abuse that I experienced as a child. I have felt so much shame about it for so long. And I literally never spoke about it out loud. I never even thought about it with myself. I never even thought about it with myself. That is so crazy to think about. Because how many things exist in life that like you literally won't even think about with yourself? Listen, holding that stuff inside was so bad for so long, for so many years, because I let it thrive and get bigger and take up more space and take on a life of its own in the shadows without talking about it in therapy or anything or trying to heal. I started to blame myself. It turned toward me. It became this situation where I was like, it's my fault. It's me. I'm disgusting. I don't deserve to live. Like, I literally didn't want to live anymore because of the shame that I carried around for so long, because of the secrets that I held from my abusers, but mostly because of the shame associated with the sexual abuse that happened. That is obviously like one example of many things to feel shame about, or that one can feel shame about in life. But it's important to talk about, because when you feel shameful about something and you hold it inside, we can twist the story and come up with these crazy stories and narratives that go, not only do they go unchallenged because we keep them in our own brains, but they become worse and they take on a life of their own and they spiral. And it suddenly goes from being like, wow, that's such a horrific, gross thing that happened, or weird thing that happened that I can never tell anyone, to, oh my God, it says X, Y, and Z about me, to, well, if it says X, Y, and Z about me, then do I deserve to live? And all these crazy things, okay? When you feel shame about something, you don't want to be vulnerable with other people. You don't want to be open, and you're hard on yourself. You're really hard on yourself because you start to blame yourself. And guess what? The harder you are on yourself, the harder you are on other people. The higher standards you hold yourself to, and the tougher you are on yourself, and like how tough you are on yourself when you make mistakes, or on your ability to make mistakes and learn and be a human being, that's how hard you'll be on other people. We all need to be a lot easier on ourselves and on each other when it comes to being human and being vulnerable and learning and growing out loud. Not judging people right away, offering these snap judgments about people, allowing them to be human, to grow, to live out loud. Okay? So today we are talking about MDMA, y'all. And no, I am not talking about the rave drug, although if that's where your mind went, then obviously I totally get it and we should chat later. But MDMA, for today's purposes and moving forward, will stand for and stands for Make Democrats Masculine Again. Okay, take a breath with me. I know how that sounds, but stick with me here, okay? This isn't about pandering to bro culture or rolling back progress in any sort of way. It's about starting a real conversation. Why are so many young men feeling left behind, and why are they drawn to these far-right figures offering nothing but a hyper-toxic version of masculinity? More importantly, how can progressives and the Democratic Party step into that gap and offer those men something better? Because right now, they're just leaving the field wide open. And to me, that's a huge problem. Here's the deal, you guys. Masculinity itself is not toxic. And I will say that again for the people in the back. Masculinity isn't toxic. But when we ignore it, shame it, or pretend that it simply just doesn't matter, we leave a vacuum. And you know who's happy to fill that vacuum? The Trumps and Andrew Tates of the world. They're loud, they're brash, they're telling guys you matter, but with a big fat asterisk. Only if you dominate, control, and never show a shred of vulnerability. And here's the thing, it's working. We saw that in the election. Because a lot of young men, they're not hearing much else. And we have to ask ourselves, what's hurting men more? Society's evolving expectations, or the fact that no one's actually showing them how to navigate those changes in a healthy way? It's wild to me, honestly. I mean, the Democratic Party is so good at speaking to women, to marginalized groups, to people of color, to people who have felt left out of the conversation. And that's amazing. That is incredible. But then when it comes to men, we either cringe at the topic or send out a memo that feels like, do better, be better. And by the way, here's a 10-page guide on why you're problematic. Like, that's not it. I remember covering the 2020 election and talking to young men in swing states around the country during the primaries. And something that stuck with me is that a lot of them felt like the message they kept getting from progressives was like, you're a problem, you're the problem, you don't quite fit in. And the message that they were getting from the far right was like, you're a winner. And so who are you going to listen to? Who are you going to listen to if those are your two options? So what's the answer? How do we make Democrats masculine again, and in a way that doesn't suck? First, we've got to stop treating masculinity like it's a dirty word. It's not. Strength, resilience, independence, these are qualities that everyone admires. But we have to pair them with empathy, kindness, and humility too, you guys. Masculinity can be about lifting people up, not just tearing them down. Second, let's talk about economic and social issues that resonate with men in personal, tangible ways. Because here's the truth, men want to feel useful. They want to feel proud of who they are. So let's connect those dots. Want to feel strong? How about a good job with fair wages so you can support yourself and your family? Want to feel confident? Let's talk about universal health care, including mental health care, so you're not bottling up emotions until they explode on everyone around you. Want to feel respected? Great, so does everyone else. Let's talk about how we build that mutual respect together. And third, we've got to tell better stories. People don't connect to spreadsheets or policy memos. They connect to narratives. Why aren't we lifting up examples of progressive men who are doing this well? Men who are strong and empathetic. Men who show up for their communities without needing to dominate them. Men who are unapologetically human, living out loud. Now, I'm not saying the DNC should start handing out free gym memberships and beard oil. Maybe that wouldn't hurt. I don't know. But the point is, this isn't about trying to be cool or pandering to a certain group. It's about meeting people where they are and without judgment. Because shaming people does not work. No one's coming to the party because you told them they're the worst. And let's be real, this isn't just about politics, it's about culture too. It's about helping young men see that being vulnerable doesn't make you weak. That being thoughtful doesn't make you soft. That you can be both strong and kind, competitive and compassionate. These things aren't opposites, they're two sides of the same coin. But these men aren't getting that message from anyone. Here's a little historical context, okay? Masculinity has always evolved. The Marlboro Man of the 1950s, that's a reaction to post-war industrialization. The sensitive 90s dad, a response to feminism and changing family dynamics. We're in another shift right now. And the question isn't, will masculinity change? It's who's going to define it this time around. So here's my pitch. Let's reclaim that conversation right now. Let's show young men they don't have to choose between being seen as strong or being seen as good. They can be both. And yeah, let's make Democrats masculine again, but in a way that's human, healthy, and actually worth aspiring to. All right, that's my take. What do you think? Are we ready to have this conversation, or is this idea just silly and destined to crash and burn? I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments, because at the end of the day, politics isn't just about policies, it's about people. And if we're serious about building a better world, we've got to bring everyone along for the ride. Until next time, be strong, be kind, and let's keep redefining what it means to show up for ourselves and for each other. See you next time. Love you guys. Bye.